to play Tottenham Hotspur in Hong Kong in July, people. Our men's first team will play our North London rivals, Tottenham Hotspur in Hong Kong on Thursday, the 31st of July, as part of our preparations for the 2025-26 season. The match kicks off at 7:30 p.m. local time, which is 11:30 a.m. UK time. So this was that, big up the Americans, but the last couple of times we've gone to America in pre-season, this is why international fans, I hate when they're disrespected, and they have my respect, because I've had to wake up at stupid o'clock to watch Arsenal, and I ain't jealous of you lot. 11:30 a.m. UK time, it works for me. So if the Asian time zone is kinder than what the American one would be, I wonder. And pick up America, and I know Kroenke's owned by Americans. We are owned by Americans. The Kroenkes are American. It makes sense why we're always there. Got big following, but it's nice to see us go somewhere else. If I'm honest with you, it seems like we're doing the American thing for the last few years. Richard Garlick has said, everyone at Arsenal is excited to be visiting Hong Kong in July. It's great to be back with our men's first team squad after 13 years. It gives us the opportunity to meet so many of our fantastic supporters in the region again. As well as training hard and playing the match, we cannot wait to connect with our Hong Kong supporters in this wonderful part of the world, playing against Tottenham Hotspur in the magnificent new Kai Tak Stadium. Kai Tak. We got Kai Havertz. Will be a great experience for both teams and supporters, and will be a very important part of our pre-season preparations ahead of the new season. Fair play, man. Moving away from that, people, I'm sure you would have seen Arsenal developing strong interest in Viktor Gyökeres as they consider striking options. Arsenal are developing a strong interest in Sporting's Viktor Gyökeres as they consider their options to recruit a striker this summer. Gyökeres has long been admired by new Sporting director Berta, whose appointment was confirmed on Sunday, and is expected to figure prominently among those the club considers signing in the transfer window. Arteta is a huge fan of Isaac. However, Newcastle United have no intention of letting their star striker leave St. James's Park, and it would likely take a massive fee for them to even consider his departure. Arsenal have also done a lot of work on RB Leipzig's Benjamin Sesko, who, like Gyökeres, even though I don't want to see Gyökeres out wide, can play out wide. So in an ideal world for me, Gyökeres is our A-lister striker. Sesko, you come in and you be our kind of V2. I know I'm dreaming, but you bring in Nico Williams, that's a winger. Trossard, you could be moved on. Martinelli, you could be moved on. You're probably more likely to stay. You've got Wanyeri in the mix. We've got stronger options there, but I just can't see two strikers in Gyökeres, Sesko, Nico Williams in a winger, Zubimendi or a centre mid. Probably need to, it's on brand. Goalies and left backs are going to have to be done. And also, I do think an element of what we need to do in terms of incomings, there needs to be something with outgoings as well, people. I do think it mimics last season in that. Very different because we've dropped the ball and we're vexed. But last season, 2 points off City, you get a striker, you do this, you do that. We're going to the next level. And for whatever reason, you know, I like Calafiori, but right now you're not the strongest man on the pitch. Merino, you're playing by default. You're not in our strongest 11. Sterling and Neto, with great respect, the less said, the better. Bringing them in was not inspiring. But also, when you're looking at it from a fan point of view, like, yeah, we're going to, you know what, we're going for it. I think there was a remit to sell players. Got a decent fee for Nketiah, got a decent fee for Smith Rowe, got a decent fee for Ramsdale, or shifted them. Obviously, we should have kept Mika Beref, gave him a new deal and loaned him back out, because if he was at Monaco now, we're earning a lot more money. But at the time, Studgras was a record fee and they made money. What's going to change this season, people? Because again, we'll part this off for just a second. Topology. There has to be a remit, obviously. But when he had his interview, they wanted to see how he would match up with Mikel Arteta, how he would tie into the structure, what he's saying in terms of incomings and what we need to be winners. But there has to be something for outgoings. You can't just blame Mikel Arteta, Edu, and all of them. Likewise, you can't just blame the Kroenkes, because at the end of the day, yeah, a lot of you that make the excuse of not sacking Arteta, they took a chance on him when he was just an assistant for Pep. They've let him rip up contracts. He's won the player battles. He's been allowed to break the transfer record. Even when you look in midfield, 30 million on Marino, 65 million on Kai Havertz. You've been allowed to buy a world-class 6 in Rice and make him an 8, and that's our club record signing. They've backed him. And obviously, we've been flirting with getting over the line. We haven't done it. Is it too far-fetched, yeah? If the Kroenke sat there and said, yo, we've given you some money, you've given people on big contracts, you ain't really won a title, we're going to give you a budget, not as much, and you need to work with it. And the budget we've given, rightly or wrongly, they haven't done enough. I can't blame them. Look at the fees. We shouldn't have been identifying Kai Havertz anyways, and so that's Arteta's L. Edu, crap negotiator. Chelsea only made a £5 million loss on that. And they'll say, you know what, that 5 million won us the champs because he scored the winning goal there. Cool. Kai's laughing. I think Kai Havertz himself, it's been a successful move. You're one of our, at this moment in time, rightly or wrongly, one of our more consistent attackers. You won the champs at Chelsea, so I can't necessarily say this, but I think your name's held in higher regards week in, week out playing for Arsenal than it was at Chelsea. You're earning crap loads of money. You know, your wife's just had a kid. You've got married. You're settled in London. You're laughing. Arsenal have to want to move you on more than anything. But if you're better, away from the new contracts and all of that, bro, you have to. It's not just going to happen in the season, but something has to happen. This doesn't have Fabio Vieira and Reece Nelson's names on it. Nelson will probably be moved on. He's injured at the moment. I don't know, you know, because there's a lot of players we can move on. We don't know if there'll actually be offers. You know, it's down to their agents. It's down to them wanting to leave. It's down to Berta to a degree. It's down to Arteta to sanction it. We might get bids that are placed, but they're not acceptable. We might accept a bid that player, whatever it is, whether it's Zinni, Trossard, whatever, the finances don't make sense. You could, and of course, everyone wants to play football, but you got to remember this is a lifestyle point of view. A lot of these players, we need to move them on more than they need to move on. Because look, like if you're a lot of these players, you're calling. Gabriel Jesus can't be moved on. There's no guarantee we even move Gabriel Jesus on in the summer of 2026, much less after that when his contract is up in 2027. Look how much peas he's going to get. It's a madness. And if you're Saliba, Gabriel, Magalhaes, and Saka, you're not in the top 5 earners. Fair enough. Odegaard signed his new deal. You don't imagine that's, well, we're going to have to talk about that soon. Rice signed for big money. You're going to get that. But look at that. He can't be moved on. And I'm not a pocket watcher. I don't really care what players get paid, really, in the grand scheme of things. Because if anyone deserves the money, it's footballers. And, you know, these clubs are not going to be paying these mad fees if, you know, if they weren't earning pounds on these pennies, essentially. But when you start breaking it down, Kai's on big money. Jesus on big money. Fair enough, Rice, Odegaard, I think that's cool. Odegaard, you need to fix up your ideas. Part if you take a wage cut or do something, we can make something happen. But you're on 200k and you're going to get a loyalty bonus. Saka, that needs to be near. You need to be on what Kai's on or beyond that. Saliba the same. Magalhaes, wherever his name is, the same. You've got Tomiyasu on 100k, in which I don't care because I like Tommy. But when do we see him? Jorginho's gone. That's 110. Tierney, that's 110. Calafiori, 22-year-old, probably signed on a 4 or 5 year deal. It makes sense why you're going to get that. But that Marino's laughing. Big move to Arsenal at 28 years of age. Obviously, he flopped in the Prem first time. 130. Madness. Absolute madness. Madness. Zinni 150. Crazy. Trossard's probably going to be moved on. You'd imagine in the next 12 months, when we deal with, I would say, the Wanieris, the Lewis Skellies, the big 3 contracts, maybe even Martinelli, because even Martinelli right now, you're not earning 180 grand. I reckon Timber signs improved terms, if I'm honest, because there was a point he was dealing with the contracts. Then the Ben Whites, the Odegaards, people that contracts weren't running down, they were given improved terms. If we're getting back to that, Timber deserves a little buffer. Like, look what Timber's that now. Again, it all depends when you sign for the club. Timber's earning less than Mikel Merino. So we're gonna have to see what this means, people. But where were we? I can't even remember where we were. Where were we? Big us up, man. We'll get back, people. This is why I love streaming with you lot. Yeah, so we went over that. Yeah, this is where we was, man. We was talking about Sesko. Yeah, Arsenal have done a lot of groundwork on Sesko, who may prove to be a more cost-effective solution, but it's unclear if they proceed with a move, and the 21-year-old Slovenian international has multiple suitors. Gyökeres is therefore now a more prominent candidate than he might have been in the past. Now, nobody's buying is that because no one can. Newcastle are pricing him out, but let's just say, for argument's sake, Newcastle have said he can go for 110. Gyökeres has a release clause and it's clearly dropped because they're around 50 odd. Whether you rate Sesko or not, we all saw Arsenal have been linked with him. Everybody's being linked with him. His agent was all about the place in the Premier League last season. Every striker, you're not going to have a free hit. You could extend that to Zubamendi and Nico Williams. It's not just Arsenal going for these players alone. It's everybody trying to get in the mix. So we're going to have a decision to make. Make sure you get one of those. The Sweden international 26 has become one of Europe's most prolific attackers since moving to Portugal from Coventry in 2023. Gyökeres has recorded 85 goals and 26 assists in 92 games for Sporting, helping them lift the Primera Liga last year. In the league this season, he has scored 30 goals in 26. That would be great. Strengthening up front is a priority for Arsenal. Obviously, Kai Havertz and Gabriel Jesus have been injured. Marino's been up there. We tried to get Ollie Watkins in the winter market. Didn't happen. Morata the same. So, yeah, man, bring him to the club, people. But then again, you do look at Darwin Núñez, Islam Slimani, Carlos Vinicius, guys that were prolific in Portugal. They didn't really correlate that when they moved on. So there is stuff to concern. Would Gyökeres be a good fit for Arsenal? There are plenty of reasons to be excited about the Swedish goal machine, Viktor Gyökeres, the best striker operating outside of Europe's top 5 leagues. But who are the top 5 leagues? England, Germany, Spain, Italy, France. To be fair, Portugal got done dirty there, but I hear it. First and most obviously, there are the numbers, stupid, laugh out loud, so unrealistic that the temptation is to think there's been some kind of accounting error, a gross clerical snuff. For, I don't know what this Don's talking about, but for which someone somewhere will end up getting the sack before long. What are you on about? Gyökeres has scored 85 times in 91 appearances across all comps for Sporting since joining them in the summer of 2023. That is startling enough, but there's been an acceleration. It's 42 goals in 42 matches since the start of this season, plus 12 and 12 for Sweden. For club and country, he's averaged a goal every 46 minutes in 2024-25. I do think there's an exchange rate. I don't think you're going to score this amount of goals that you're doing in Portugal in the Prem, but I do think you'll get a lot of goals. And again, there's stuff that needs to change because I don't see nothing at this moment in time that suggests you get a better striker and you get a better winger and all our problems are fixed. We need to break down low blocks. We need to move the ball a lot quicker. Arteta, for me, has to find a bit balance between making his striker a sacrificial kind of lamb, because that is a selfless act being up front for Arsenal. You have to drop deep. The wingers get spacing behind. Keep that fine balance, but get our man in goal scoring positions. I've seen it for me with him. I see enough runs off the ball. I see enough link-up play. I see enough smart little movements from wide areas. I see enough variety in how he plays and the goals he scores, whether it's free kicks, tap-ins, runs, all of that. I think it's worth the risk. And at 26 years of age, didn't really work out for you at Brighton, built a name for yourself in Coventry, stepped up, bagged a hat-trick against City, gone up the levels for Sporting. Whether your move is to Arsenal or not, that's his sense of, I'm here now. This is my chance of a lifetime. I know people can point towards more younger players, but I just think it's calm. And he's 26, to which you still got time to get your little Sesko or do what you want to do in the market. But yeah, whichever way you slice them, these are incredible, unignorable figures. Little wonder that his campaign has been soundtracked by a constant hum of praise in Portugal. A phenomenon, Sporting coach Rui Borges called him after his brace against Sasa Pia earlier this month. He's got it all: technical quality, strength, lunacy. It's impressive. Honestly, he's one of the best strikers ever to play in our league. Apparently, before facing him on Saturday, a defender suggested the only way to stop the forward was by using a magic potion. He was clearly unable to source any. Gyökeres scored twice from the penalty spot and set up another goal in a 3-0 victory. Even he has scored an abnormal amount of penalties, which needs to be discounted. And because you're not going to get them penalties at Arsenal, but what do you want a man to do? Not score the penalties? The goal's a goal, really. When you break it down, whether it's a penalty, a header, a tap-in, 30 yards, a goal's a goal. And again, I see enough variety. And to be fair with you, if we had someone that was decent at penalties, maybe we score in normal time against Man United. Maybe we maybe we win the shootout. I don't know, people. And even in the Champions League, when Trossard missed, I mean, you and Saka would be our penalty takers, isn't it? He's extraordinary, a pleasure to watch, said after the game. The broad strokes could barely be more positive, yet for Arsenal fans, buoyed by the news that the club are developing a strong interest in Gyökeres ahead of summer transfer window, there's even more encouragement to be gleaned from the details. For one thing, he could simply be a huge point of difference, offering something the current club options at centre forward don't, even when fit available. Kai Havertz, Gabriel Jesus, Trossard have many assets, but brute physicality is not among them. At his best, Gyökeres is a wild horse. I don't think he's the quickest, but this says he can outpace defenders, but often seems just as content to trample over them before bolting for goal. He occupies a backline even when playing up front alone. I just think he's a smart footballer. I think he's one of them. He's not blisteringly quick, but he's quick over a short distance. Like, he might be on the last shoulder. He knows Saka is going to pop a ball over the top. He's acting like he's not involved. Quick dash, fed, hot the gate, he's gone, he scored, we're off. Anyways, people, I'm here for this. Gyökeres also has one-track mind when it comes to scoring. He picks up his share of assists. He has laid on 16 goals in the Portuguese top flight since start last season. But as a byproduct of his all-action style, when he gets the ball in the final third, there's only ever one focus. Gyökeres wants to go directly to goal. He's totally ruthless, said one of his youth coaches. Totally obsessed. Sometimes he feels anxious on the pitch because he hasn't scored his goal. I like that. Because I'll be real, out of all the men I've seen play up front for our club, Kai Havertz is the only one I've heard, whether I rate him or not, speak like a striker, like I want to score. Certain men are saying goals are not a strong point of theirs. Defenders are saying they can't defend. Goalies are saying they can't concentrate. And of course, I'm taking it a bit without context. And if you read what they actually all said, it's very different. But at the end of the day, I don't want to hear that chat. I want to go. I like the way Raya speaks in comparison to Ramsdale. I want my striker to say, I want golden boot. I want this. I want that. And deferred people. So yeah, we love that. You can understand perhaps why Gyökeres lists Cristiano Ronaldo as one of his idols. Selfless is all well and good, but it's wise to cleave to the old Gordon Gecko line when it comes to strikers. Greed, for the lack of better word, is good. Not for nothing does Borges characterize Gyökeres as competitive and ambitious. His path to this point may have shaped his outlook. Gyökeres must have thought he was knocking on the door of the big time when he joined Brighton at 19, but it didn't happen for him. Loan spells at Sampoli, Swansea and Coventry were nothing to write home about either. Only after he made the permanent switch to Coventry did he begin to show what he can do. He'll turn 27 in June, so there's a sense he's keen to make up for lost time, which is great. You've had good moments in your career, you've had bad moments. Now it's, you know, you've come through that. It's now time to do the business kind of thing. Smash the like button if you haven't. There are weaknesses to his game. He's not the most graceful in tight areas. His pace disguises the odd loose touch. Despite his stature, he is not especially good in the air. Of his 68 goals for Sporting in Sweden, only one has been a header. Admittedly, this owes as much to tactics as technique. For Sporting especially, Gyökeres is often tasked with carving out chances for himself, something he's very, very good at. One run in particular, arching from inside to out, so from out to in, like just being fancy with it, or the right channel. What did I say before we read this? I've seen enough. I've seen your channel play, seen you drop deep, seen a variety of goals to say he's worth a chance. And at 26, you're not like Sesko. Like you need to learn and all of that. Not saying he's the finished article, but he knows his job. He's all rounded in that. Like Gyökeres, Saka, Wanyeri in the cut, a left winger. Odegaard, find your shooting boots. Can we, sort out the partnership of Rice and someone else? Get more squad players. It could get better. So yeah, here are 3 examples. So these are the runs he makes, as you can see, man. You know the ball's coming. He's making that darting run. Fair play. Again, making that darting run. Again. And what I like is he's a bit... The only one I see in our squad able to do this, I would say, is Wanyeri's emergence. But I would probably say Trossard, in that you might just be able to buy a yard. Can you get the shot away with your left? Like he scores a lot of them kind of finishes. And Isaac terrorized Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes, and people could say, oh, Saliba and Gabriel kept him quiet, which they did. But even though we battered Sporting, I think Gyökeres gave a good account of himself. Pardon me, I'm sure he hit the post in that game as well, man. So it's just telling us what we know already, if I'm completely honest with you. So take a chance, man. What stands out the most about these goals, as well as countless other similar ones, is not the intelligence of the runs. There are no Mensa level movements, nor are the finishes especially artful. No, the key thing here is the sheer self-sufficiency of Gyökeres as an attacking outlet. His ability to take what might have otherwise be a fairly benign situation and turn it into something else single-handedly. This is perhaps more than anything else is what should excite Arsenal fans. It doesn't take a great feat of memory to recall Gabriel Jesus, Havertz and Trossard receiving similar passes in similar areas and being bullied out of possession, or at least forced to recycle it. There are obvious caveats here. One is that the Primavera is nowhere near as strong as its English equivalent. Another is that Arsenal rarely play on the counter-attack and are almost never afforded the amount of space you see in the examples above. Would Gyökeres be as prolific against deep defenders? Would he be so physically dominant against Premier League defenders? And if not, would that flatten out some of his advantages over, say, Havertz? There are pennant questions for Arsenal or any other suitor. One thing does seem fairly certain, however, the sheer weight of numbers means that someone will offer Gyökeres the chance to find out the answers sooner or later. Great conclusion on that, people. Gyökeres is currently leading the race for the European Golden Boot. He's got 30 league goals this season, and you look at him against the top 7 league strikers. He's first for goals, goals per 100 touches first, expected goals first, goals and assists first, non-penalty plus assists, I think that means first, XG first, attacking actions first. He's actually he's actually underplaying his XG as well. Attacking actions first, dribbles over 100 touches first, offensive duels won first. So I think I can see enough to take a punt, if I'm honest with you. He's outperforming his non-penalty XG as well, as you can see here. So I'm all for it. The stats that show why Gyökeres is the right man for Arsenal ahead of fellow strikers Isaac, Sesko and Osman. I don't know over Isaac, but Get to it, man. We know I'm gonna skip past all of this. We've seen all of that kind of stuff. What statistics are there? We know he's got 42 goals in as many games. Isaac has found the net on 19 fewer occasions. Isaac's in a better league, man. Let's be real. Gyökeres is finding the net every 80 minutes. Isaac is finding it every 113 minutes. I mean, for me, I'll be real, it's more impressive with Isaac because he's doing it in the Prem. The Coventry striker also has a higher goal conversion rate than Isaac, 29% to 27. Narrowly, he has a superior big chance conversion too. Gyökeres is 57% beating out, pause. Isaac's 56%. Okay. I'm ready to say Gyökeres is better than Isaac on a shameless thing as well. Fair enough. Hey, this is giving me material for a potential another video, if I'm honest with you. Xabi Alonso, who's rumored to be going Real Madrid, but rumors today actually say he could be staying at Leverkusen. They've been linked with Kivior. He could be heading to Leverkusen. Now, there are rumors they're going to let some defenders depart, so you do have to take it with a pinch of salt. But apparently, adding to the list of players potentially leaving is Kivior, with Bayern Leverkusen expressing interest in signing the Polish defender. Kivior's time at Arsenal has been somewhat limited since his 20 million move from Spezia in January 2023. Despite showing promise, he has struggled to break into the starting 11. Again, Jonathan Char could be leaving. Hincapie could be leaving. What's the other centre back that they've got who's linked with moves? So I don't know if we should take that with a pinch of salt. Cunha, who we're going to continuously be linked with, apparently he said he's ready to take the next step in his career. Now we're close to achieving our goal of staying up. I've made it clear that I want to take the next step. I want to fight for titles, for big things. I have potential. I had a lot of offers, but I wouldn't feel well if I'd done it. I couldn't leave the club in the middle of the season in a difficult situation in the relegation zone. Moving away from that, again, I'm jealous, man, of the FA Cup semi-final draw, in which Arsenal versus Crystal Palace has been postponed because Palace are still competing. Boy, if Emre wins the FA Cup, it's agendas. But I'm jealous of Nottingham Forest, City, Crystal Palace, Villa. Like Forest, if they win the trophy and get top four, they've overachieved. City in their worst season getting silverware. What does that mean? We all know what's going to be said with Aston Villa and Emre winning a title, just like with Eddie Howe. So we'll have to see, man. Arsenal are confident, allegedly, of Zubimendi signing this summer despite fresh competition from Real Madrid. Reports in Spain said a move from Real Madrid was very likely and suggested Zubimendi could snub Arsenal to return to the Bernabeu. But it's been widely reported that Arsenal remain confident of signing Zubimendi and expect the Spaniard to arrive through the doors at the Emirates Stadium. So get it signed off where Gyökeres and Zubimendi are concerned. The Athletic claim Arsenal are working on the basis that Zubimendi will be a Gunners player next season, while a report in Spain says a deal between the two clubs has almost been reached. Arteta wants to strengthen his squad in the summer as Arsenal looks set for a third successive second place finish in the Premier League. We've been linked with Gyökeres and all these kind of things, man. Gallas said, and I don't care what Gallas has to say, I can't understand why Arsenal are signing Martin Zubimendi. They have so many midfielders. That should not be a priority. Jorginho's going. Partey's going. Mikel Merino's a squad player at best. Really? The Odegaards, the Wanyeris, they can be molded into those deeper roles, but we're not seeing that at this moment in time. Gallas, stop chatting. Are we going to take any advice from Gallas with a Mohican? A grown man, probably 30 with a Mohican, a relaxed Mohican as well. And the way he acted as a captain against Birmingham when Clichy made a mistake, or the fact that he disgraced the number 10 shirt, worst player to play for the club. Just for that, sign Zubimendi. I swear to you, Gallas could tell me Thierry Henry's the best player ever, which I believe, but because he said it, I'm going to say, no, it's not. It's Cristiano Ronaldo. I hate him from a footballing point of view. Absolute see you next Tuesday. So unfortunate, but former Gooner Christopher Olsen, people, has agreed to terminate his contract with FC Midtjylland a little more than a year after being diagnosed with an acute brain condition. We wish him all the best, man. That's shit news. Arsenal, Man United have been linked with Adam Wharton, but it will take 100 million to cop him. And Liverpool have been thrown into the mix as well. So I can't see that one happening, people, because it's going to cost far too much. Is there any new news? Arteta confirmed. Oh, bro, this is definitely about Burr. A1 clickbait, man. That's definitely about Burr. Is anything new here? Gone over the Saka thing. I mean, where the strikers are concerned, at least for at least a week, like the Osimhen rumors, they're not going to cut it. The Isak rumors, they're not going to cut it. Arsenal contenders to sign 45 million euro Liverpool star as Fabrizio Romano reveals truth on Anfield exit. Please smash the like button if you haven't. Liverpool are strongly considering a radical shake-up of their forward line. We all know Trent could leave, Van Dijk could leave, Salah could leave. Alisson's being linked with a move away, probably leaves next summer. I don't think Arne Slot fucks with Darwin Núñez. Jota and Diaz are also linked with moves away. the Kwanzas, the Harvey Elliots are also linked with moves away. And that's before you get into incomings, people. I don't buy the Luis Diaz to Arsenal thing in it, but he's still being linked. He's still being linked with Arsenal as well as Barcelona. Even though there's rumors Hansi Flick has told the Barcelona board, "I'm not on signing you people." Let's see. My information at the moment is that there's nothing advanced or concrete in terms of new contracts talks at Liverpool. My information is that already in January there was some interest from the Saudi Pro League. He wanted to stay at the club, and Liverpool didn't want to change the squad at that moment. Fair play. Fair play. And they're still being linked with Nico Williams. Interesting. We've gone over the Bukayo Saka thing. I'm excited. Manchester City allegedly are trying to hijack Real Madrid's bid to sign William Saliba from Arsenal this summer. I mean, everybody's going to be interested if Saliba became available. But really, we need to be involved in the Rangers chat. Apparently, he's a target for Man City, although he signed a new contract at AC Milan and it doesn't include a release clause. If not necessarily him, you see the skill set of how he plays in midfield. I'd love to see Declan Rice go back in the six and you sign someone like this to go with Gyökeres, a left winger, the Wanyeris, the Sakas, and the quality players we already have, people. But I'm just an armchair expert. Anyone having any of the City scrap players? Kevin De Bruyne, Jack Grealish, and Gundogan could all potentially leave. Grealish, anyone? I know, people, I know. According to a claim in Turkish media, Galatasaray show an interest in Raheem Sterling, who's obviously unhappy at Arsenal, allegedly due to lack of game time, and his future at Chelsea is far from decided. Obviously, Marco Silva said we're a top side. He's probably said everything, and he's spoken about Smith Rowe. Don't worry, Fulham, whereas equally as shook at you. Jonathan David, not that anyone cares, a free transfer that is not really free at all. Jonathan David's significant financial demands have been revealed in a report by Sasha Trevelelli. David is expected to leave Lille this summer. The Canadian's contract expires at the end of the season, and there are no hints of a renewal. He therefore represents a significant opportunity on the market, especially given the scarcity of affordable centre-forward options on the market. However, despite the free tag, David will not come cheap. The Canada international is demanding a gross salary of $9 million per year, as well as a signing-on fee of $15 million. Commission fees would then total around $10 million, meaning that the free transfer would in fact cost around $34 million. Premier League sides have been put off by the demands. Man United, Chelsea, Liverpool, Spurs, Newcastle, and West Ham United are all interested in bringing David this summer. While Premier League regulations surrounding the structure of a free transfer are putting off England's elite, Italian clubs remain interested in the deal. Juventus have already begun talks with the player's entourage, while Inter Milan have a strong interest in bringing him to the San Siro. What else have we got here? Douglas Luiz is being linked with Nottingham Forest, where our boy Edu is there, people, and we did try to sign him. New Nottingham Forest pressure for Douglas Luiz is continuing. In January, Juventus wanted 45 to 50 million for him, but that price tag could be reduced. Not really worked out for him. Do you remember last year I did a video on Gyökeres, people? I might just for banter do an updated one, as we try different bits and pieces of content. So yeah, make sure you take that out. You take that in. So yeah, man, we've got through that. What are you lot saying in the comments? Sorry, folks. I just wanted to get through that part, man. Let me scroll all the way up. A relaxed mohawk, bro. Come on. Gallas, 30 mil for Kivio is even light money. Someone will pay it. Bring Saka off the bench versus Fulham, ease him in. It's like you say, DJ, know what the others are doing and focus on what we need to do. Pray for Madrid. But we went for Kivio. Bournemouth got Heinsohn. It's crazy.